This episode, I sit down with Claudia De Carlo from Spain, Barcelona. She is a transformational coach dedicated to helping individuals and businesses align with their purpose, unlocking their potential and drive meaningful change. Claudia made the bold transition from being let go from a corporate 9-to-5 job and pursuing her own purpose-driven business. And today, she shares her own journey, the challenges she faced, and the powerful mindset shifts that led her to success that she now has. If you've ever felt stuck being in the 9-to-5 grind, or even uncertain about your next move, or even overwhelmed by unexpected changes, this conversation is packed with insights to help you navigate transformations with confidence. We dive into breaking free from limitations, embracing change, and creating a life that truly aligns with your own goals and living a life by your own terms and values. Welcome to the Growth Concept Podcast, episode 21. I'm your host, Keone Upton, and my mission is to bring you conversations that inspire growth and challenge your perspective. That's enough from me. Let's get into it. Enjoy this episode.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Claudia, what is it you do and why do you do it?
Okay. I'm a transformational coach. So what it means is I help people, I guide people through self-awareness to unlock their potential, and invite them to see problems as opportunities. There is a lot of reframing in my work, and basically understand why they are going through the things they are going through. Many of them are rooted in subconscious beliefs or subconscious patterns. So it means things that we're not even aware of.
Wow.
And then this is the exciting part because we don't know about it, we can't change it. But once we become aware, then that's the opportunity and the amazing opportunity for change, really.
What key skills do you need to be a life coach? Would it be like, I imagine you would need a lot of listening skills and have a lot of empathy.
Yes, definitely. Listening, empathy, you said them, that these are the main ones. And then it's also about learning what those limiting beliefs are. Normally it's about things that are in the negative. For example, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. And normally there are about 10 of them that encapsulate all of the others, and they have different variations. But so, for example, for me, there was one really big one that was my needs don't matter. Because so many of them are rooted in childhood, and whatever you perceive, many times is what happens in your environment, but so many of them are even what you perceive they are. So I'm not diminishing what people go through in life. I personally been through a difficult childhood where there was trauma involved and things that were not easy. But the invitation is to look at it from a different. Now, obviously, it's in the past. So first of all, it's inviting not to dwell on it, and there is a lot of also processing those trapped emotions in the body.
That leads me on to, what do you feel your true mission in life is right now?
So I'm excited about helping people really unlock this, first of all, where they are stuck, and then their true potential, and basically what they came here to do. And it's something that is not easy many times, because many of us think, well, I don't know what I'm here for, what was my passion, my purpose. Those words are quite first of all, these are words that we hear a lot nowadays, because it's very, especially with social media, lots of people talking about find your passion, find your purpose. But I must say, I agree. Yes, there is a lot of freedom and excitement in living a life aligned with your purpose, but it's not easy. So I admit it was difficult even for myself, and I've been studying this for about 20 years, ever since I started being curious. Yes. Whenever I was doing jobs that I wasn't enjoying, I was always asking myself, maybe there is something that I'm missing. And so, yes, I think it is not easy, but it's definitely worth
How come
um,
helping
finding out.
people is important to you?
Okay, so I realized, and this is only a few years ago, that I realized and I learned through listening to great people that are making an impact in the world, like Simon Sinek, for example. He wrote the book Start With Why and other books, and for me, he was the first one I listened to that was explaining how important it is to find meaning in helping others. And since then, I started reading more about it, and then you see people like Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor, and the way he overcame such a massive traumatic experience, having lost his family there in such circumstances, and he was going through hell himself, was to know that if he could survive that and help other people see, through helping others, he kind of
Hmm.
overcome everything that he suffered and his family suffered. And this is something that he made true because he became a psychologist professor, and he went on to teaching at universities and wrote books and impacted many people's lives. So with the same principle, that's how I learned that helping and
Hmm.
serving others is the way to find the most meaning in life.
Yeah, I feel that. And yeah, his why, I haven't read his book, but I've watched his podcast before. The principle he works from is so powerful in the fact on working outwards on your why. I think it's how and what. That
Yeah.
principle is so powerful in even doing like a side project, a hobby, like having that solid why is what helps pushes you through that. Yeah. I want to know what inspired you to transition from your corporate life to becoming a transformational life coach.
So I many times I felt like taking the leap into starting my own business and helping
Mm.
people, inspiring people, and helping people through their personal development journey, because this is something I've been passionate about for, like I said, over 20 years in my own journey. Learning about psychology through all the therapies I've done for myself and all the extra learning, and also all the personal development tools that I've used for myself, and neuroscience, everything, all the topics I'm passionate about. But then every time I tried to start something, like in 2018, I registered a domain called Infinite Potential in Spanish, and I didn't do it. I let it expire, and I just didn't have the courage to transition because,
Was I just had that fear?
yeah, so fear of who's gonna listen to me, who's gonna be
Mm.
interested in what I have to say, or what qualifications do I have? I'm not a therapist, so who's gonna want to work for me? But it's funny, like I did register the domain and everything. I felt I was ready, but then those voices telling you, actually is your mind telling you to keep safe, stay in the safe zone, because everything unknown is dangerous, right? And
Mm.
also your mind telling you, just be small, play small, because that's safe. The rest feels very scary. But it's through really going through those scary moments that growth happens. So over the years, this voice, trying to convince me that I was not ready, not ready, not ready. And also the trap of corporate, I would say, or having a stable job, is that you stay because of the salary, the benefits, and you eventually end up staying. And even though over the years I felt the pain of staying in jobs, and I must say I tried many different jobs, so it was not just persisting on one, but trying so many different jobs and still not being happy, because I knew deep inside I had more potential.
Mm.
but not knowing how to use it or how to tap into it. What's happened in this transition is that I got let go of the job in corporate that I was last year, 11 months ago. And for me, even though that was a moment of shock and uncertainty, there was a certain peace inside of me that I felt, yeah, this is my time. And I had no
Mm.
idea how to do it. I had no savings. We just had bought a bigger house, so we had a bigger mortgage. But despite all that chaos and moment of confusion, I just felt it's okay, it's okay.
Mm.
I'll be
Yeah, I feel
okay.
that. Was that change rapid when you got let go of your corporate job?
It was very rapid because it was very tricky the way it happened as well. I wasn't aware that I was going to be let go.
Mm.
It was not a redundancy process and it was not a disciplinary because as a high achiever, I had gone above and beyond. That was normal behavior in my career. Also, this is interesting because that normal behavior that is going above and beyond and being kind of also like a people pleaser also plays against you because many times I was not balancing my life and I was
Mm.
always giving and doing more, more, more. Why? To be recognized externally, to be accepted. And that was also leading to burnout for me.
Yeah, right.
So not only
With
not feeling, my that I could use my full potential, but also giving so much that I was depleted.
yeah, I feel that. With you brought up earlier with regarding your comfort zone. If you didn't lose that job and went down the path you are now, do you think you would have like fought against your comfort zone and eventually broken free from the corporate life, or do you reckon you would still be working in corporate life today if you weren't positioned for that?
I think I would have made the change anyway, maybe
Mm.
slower in slower, slowly. But I had set an intention. Actually, this is funny how things work as well in life with our intention. I more and more embrace the power of our intentions. This is something that I was not doing in my life, especially when I was younger, and I was not aware. And ever since I started setting an intention, having a clear goal, everything is unfolding so much quickly.
Mm.
And so I lost the job 2024 at the beginning, and in December I did a vision board, and I put, with photos, and I set an intention to start. I put start my mission of helping others, and it's like 1 month later, wow, boom, you're on the path. Like you have no choice. So that's why I also feel like this is really working because even
Mm.
though I was very, very shyly and slowly working towards it, it just happened. So I think I would have made the leap, but maybe it would have taken me longer.
Yeah. Why do you believe aligning in your purpose as such is so crucial for an individual's growth or a business's growth?
Because I tried for so long, for decades, I
Mm.
tried jobs and doing things that were not aligned, and I'm going to explain what I mean by aligned. But so my evidence is when I didn't align, it didn't work. So yes, I made some money. I was getting the jobs I wanted because I was applying for jobs and I was getting them. But I felt ill with different, for example, depression, anxiety, and also physical symptoms as well over the years. And for me, when I studied and I realized the importance of being aligned with ourselves, then I started applying it, and then I can confirm how, and not just me, many people that do the same. You can see how exciting and how meaningful their lives are. So, for example, by aligned, I mean something that you're you have a talent for, that gives you joy, that you can help others. Is a little bit that concept of ikigai, that Japanese concept of like if you do, this is about 4 circles that you put. Are you familiar with this tool?
I have heard of the book. That's actually in my Amazon cart right now. So yeah, definitely going
Yes,
to read that.
yeah, and also it's quite visual tool. So basically what it says is do something that you love doing. So indicators of something that you love doing is something that gives you energy. So something that you can spend hours doing and you just lose track of time, And it could be anything. That's the beauty of this, that it doesn't have to look like somebody else's, because that's the key. We are unique. So there is a lot of also authenticity in the work, like being yourself and being courageous and brave to be yourself, no matter what people say. And luckily, this is something that we are more and more talking about now. Before, it was all about, fitting in and all being the same. And the markers were like, you making money, are you getting promoted, And now it's about what gives you pleasure and passion, and then what are you good at? And this is again something that we can learn. So maybe, not being defined about what we cannot do. That's having a growth mindset. So for example, when people say, well, I'm not good at playing instruments, and then, we can all learn and then practice, you get better. So with those concepts in mind, what I'm good at, what I'm passionate about, how I can help others. This is always the component that you can't miss. Always giving back, always helping others. And the last one is and how I can get paid, And nowadays with the internet, socials, and all the channels available, really, there is no way we can say, well, no, I can't do it.
So much opportunity, yeah.
So much, yeah.
I truly feel with the school system, like reflecting back on my high school life and stuff, and as well as my mates, the school system kind of gives you the path. Like, it kind of tells you what you're doing to an extent. Yeah, you have choices, but like you were saying, it's those corporate jobs. And if you're not cut out, or that's not your purpose and your mission, or you have bigger ambitions and goals to that, it's scary separating from the pack, like you were saying, with having that transition from corporate to starting your own business in life coaching. What was the most significant challenge you faced when transitioning from the 9-to-5 corporate life to running your own business?
The biggest challenge, I would say, was uncertainty, not knowing, first of all, what to do, how, and also, not having money to spare, let's say. And so it was about also being resourceful with what I did have. And this is another reframing technique that I invite everyone to use in their lives, because when we focus on what we lack, then we're gonna feel bad about it, and we're gonna get more stuck. Because the relationship between what we think, feel, and how we act. This is, that all the feelings we have originate in things we think. So then it's about being really careful about what we think. And then I apply that a lot, thinking, right, I might not have that, but what do I have instead? What can I get through help? What can I get through learning? And again, going back to all the resources out there nowadays, there are so many free resources. I resorted to like lots of networking as well, and learning from people that are already doing things. And you can do lots of networking online. You can do networking in person, which is what I love doing the most. And so, yeah, that uncertainty and not having, but then not having, but not thinking that I'm not having, and also accepting and trusting. Accepting, because there is another very important thing in the wherever we are, in whatever situation we are, accepting that we are meant to be there, which doesn't mean, well, I'm loving that I have no money, I'm loving that I have no job, but from an energy of accepting, then you can move into choosing, because you get to choose, okay, what do I do next?
Yeah.
Right? But then if the lower or other states of the consciousness are, right, I'm fighting, I'm resisting my situation, then you're going to get more stuck because you're going to get grumpy, you're going to get not in the mood, you're going to want to stay in bed, or maybe, I don't know, do things that are harmful, like eating and drinking and doing things that are not, like not healthy, overeating, over drinking,
Yeah. For someone who is struggling in that kind of space that is very pessimistic as such, what would your guidance be of breaking from becoming that pessimist to the optimist?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I think it's super important to move from that pessimistic state. And sometimes that is really hard to do, and it's only up to the person to realize that they want to
Yep.
change that. I've tried, and many people, and that is pointless. Trying to persuade someone or convince them to want to change and to start seeing things in a different way is really, really hard. That's why coaching helps when people are ready to at least be curious, and be at least say, okay, but those cynics and people that always find like an excuse or an explanation as to why everything is bad, and yeah, it's going to be really hard. So it has to really come from people to, I invite them to, in general, to answer your question, I would invite people to try, and because what my point is, if so far being pessimistic didn't help you, why not try the opposite, unless those people that
Yeah.
are pessimistic and negative, and they tell me, well, that works for me, then
Do
why
you do
not
your
change?
coaching in person or online?
I did the program, I did it online.
So you do all your coaching online?
Mainly online. I think is easy, it's comfortable, it's convenient,
Mm.
and also I can help anyone across the world. I speak Spanish as my mother tongue, and I speak English, and I live in England, and it doesn't matter where people are in the world. That's another beauty of technology. And nowadays, the coaching program I went through, it was with Peter Crone, who is US based. He's British, but he lives in the US. And that was a beautiful transformation program. And I did from home, and he's based in California,
And that helped you identify your mission and purpose more clearer, did it?
yes, I think it really helped because I let me think, because when I applied for the program, it was after I was let go of my job, and I wanted to see what's holding me back, right? And even though I did this coaching program, it was the coaches edition as well. It's for people to become coaches. And yeah, I wasn't aware that I was like, right, I'm going to become a coach. But I think when I did it, I felt, in this energy that I was telling you about, I felt, oh, the way he listens, the way, so I felt that I can do that. I can listen. I
Mm.
can help people with my own experience. And because there was a community, it was a mastermind program of many, many other people, about 200 people. And then there is a lot, we keep in touch through the platform or via WhatsApp, and there is a lot. So still in touch and still working together. And there was this part whenever I was sharing an insight or sharing my experience, some people were telling me, "Oh my God, I really resonate with that," or "Thank you
Wow.
for helping me see that in a different way." And likewise, I also benefited from my colleagues' insights. So this is when I knew this is what I want to do.
That's a very good point. With going through that job shift of being let go from your corporate job and dealing with unplanned events, for younger individuals going through that unplanned event phase in their life, for example, like that transition from out of school into the real world, not knowing sense of direction and stuff, how should we approach unplanned events in your opinion?
So I think there are different types of unplanned events, like that transition that you mentioned. Yeah, it's unplanned because you don't know what to do, no? But you know it's coming to an end. You know you're gonna finish school and you're gonna have to decide what to do. Many times in that case, I would say don't rush things, but also don't paralyze. Don't be blocked by fear or by uncertainty. So I would say try different things because it's okay. In the past, it was considered more like, oh, you don't know what to do now. You have to start university and you don't know what to
Yeah.
do. And even if you don't start university, you're a failure, like those beliefs. But nowadays, even if it's actually more accepted. In fact, the whole education system is changing, and it's kind of actually smart sometimes not to go through university if that's not what you want. So it's not
Yeah, for sure.
necessarily the only choice, especially where degrees cost a lot of money and then people get into debt, like in some countries like here in the UK. So I'd say don't rush it, but don't stay at home playing video games. Just try different things and especially learn skills. There's so many skills to learn. From like how to actually do things or customer service or how to sell, and there's so much you can start
Just building those
experiencing.
foundational skills.
Yeah, absolutely. And also not only just learning those skills, you have the hard skills and soft skills are more valued nowadays.
What are soft skills?
Soft skills are, well, so you've got hard skills, like to put it in contrast, like if you know how to program or do things with the computer, technical skills, software, like if you program software but then soft skills are communication, time management, all the ones that are really, really needed and useful, but many people don't. They tend to focus more on the hard skills because, well, those are the ones that are gonna get you the job. But soft skills are really important because then I saw in my years in corporate, I saw many people with hard skills but no soft skills, and it was really difficult to work in teams.
What role does mindset play in adapting to change? We spoke earlier about that optimist pessimistic mindset. How do those two correspond with adapting and growing with change?
Yeah, so my mindset and growth mindset, which is basically knowing that you have the capacity to keep learning and keep evolving and growing. And it's like, for me, the example is as easy as adding, yet when we say, I don't know how to play an instrument yet, I don't know how to speak on a podcast yet, So then that opens up the opportunity to just do it. And also knowing that at the beginning, you're not going to be very good at, because it's normal that if you've never done it, you can't expect to be brilliant at something that you've never done before. But then with practice comes progress. And this is something I don't know. My son is 9, and at school they now teach them this phrase, a quote in like a very an evolved version of the quote, which it used to be, practice makes perfect, right? Have you heard of that one? And now
I used to use it all the time.
yeah, but now they teach them practice makes progress, which is great because there is no perfect, first of all. If you strive for perfection, first of all, it's like a really high expectation, and also it's not real because we are human and we're not going to be perfect.
Do you mind sharing a story about a personal experience where embracing change led to an unexpected success in your life?
So I could share my own personal experience with unexpected change, like what we were saying before. One thing is when you know that the change is coming, right? And you
Mm,
can prepare a little bit. But for me, with this job loss, let's say, and that's another way of reframing, I didn't lose my job. I actually gained an amazing opportunity to start my own business. So first of all,
exactly. Yeah.
by seeing it in that way, it removed the fear because loss, is attached to that fear of there's something missing. And, and so first of all, that's why I changed. I thought, well, and I'm not gonna deny, I felt like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? But
Yeah.
there was this underlying trust, in the universe and in life. Again, I looked for evidence in the past to support my belief that I never went hungry, and I never in my life, even despite all the challenges. And as growing up, we had a lot of financial challenges, and I said to myself, I never went hungry, and I never went without a roof, over my head. So I thought, well, I trust I'm always gonna be okay. That
Mm.
if I don't know something, I'm gonna learn, and if not, I'm gonna ask for help. So with
That's a
that,
very good way of looking at it.
so with that, then with that mindset, then I started saying, okay, what do I need to do first, right? And then I started taking little steps. And then I must admit there was a period where I was quite lost at the beginning of
Mm.
those, straight after the shock. And I was like running around like a headless chicken, trying to find how to figure out this business. Because one thing I knew is I was not going to go back to, trying the same thing. However, that didn't mean that a few times I said, okay, months are passing and now I need to have some income to pay the bills. And I applied for jobs, not in the same capacity, not full time, not, kind of to get me by. And I didn't get them. Yeah, I didn't even get interviews. Because in the past, I used to be really good at getting interviews, smashing the interviews. And this time it was absolute crickets. And for me, it was again confirmation that life didn't want me to get distracted again. So all those things I think is really important for you, your audience as well to know.
Mm.
Yeah, our mind, our ego, in order to keep us safe, is going to say, see, your business isn't working. And then you think, oh, hang on a minute, it's been 2 months. Like,
Yeah,
what do you
exactly.
expect? But also, many times trying to be like, oh, go back to get any job. And, so yeah, so taking little steps, being consistent as well in whatever I was doing, but also discerning what I need to put my focus on because there's so many distractions and so many things that
Definitely
take your attention.
looking in the bigger picture of things is what helps you drive you to, which I've found with obviously my progress slowly happening as well. Mm.
Yeah,
So
so
with
it's so good to see other people like, like yourself also started not long ago. And
Yeah, and it
yeah,
goes back to that comfort zone thing. Like, it's so easy to be in a comfort zone, and it's about taking that leap, that thing that's unconventional, is what makes you'll get these self doubts. I think it's good to, like, your brain's going to be like, oh, don't do it, because that's the human nature to stay in the comfort zone, because that's our survival mechanism back in the day. And it's good to acknowledge that. Don't try and fight it. Just acknowledge it and be like, reground yourself, like you were saying. Like, I have a roof over my head, I have people around me, I can seek out mentors and constantly seek that knowledge and learn from others, being that open-minded. So
yeah,
crucial.
yeah. But you know what? When you say it's true, in a way, it's true that staying in the comfort zone is easy, but it's very painful. I don't know who stays in the comfort zone and is happy. Then it means, okay, I'm not saying people cannot be live a life that is like happy and at peace without always wanting to grow, fine. But
Mm.
if you're lying to yourself thinking I stay here because I feel great, you know this is the problem, I think. When we stay in the comfort zone and we are suffering, we hate going to work. We only live for the weekend or only live for the summer holiday, which is once a year. And in some countries, it's like only 2 weeks a year,
Yeah.
and it's like all they can look forward to. And, or, like partying at the weekend and only to, you have to kind of learn to differentiate what is a form of self-soothing the pain and what is a genuine, well, like you're having fun and you want to have a good time. And this is the part I invite people not to lie to themselves.
Exactly. For someone who is wanting to escape from the 9 to 5 to pursue their own passion, their mission, their business idea, which they have, what guidance or advice would you give to someone that's in that position that may be afraid to take the next step?
Yeah. So first of all, kind of assess where they are at in their emotional state,
How do they do
Is
that?
it like first you can, that is a very good question, because I know for me that I'm used to, like I learned about emotions, and it's not something that I learned in childhood. So it's something that again I can it shows that you can learn when you're a grown up, and anytime really, it doesn't matter how old. And it's about feeling, and identifying those feelings. And it's not easy at first because we are used to saying, how do you feel? Good, bad, sad, happy, But the good thing is there's so many tools out there now that help you. There are apps and there are websites that help you put a name to the feeling, and with the name and the description. So I can tell you, I think it's called How We Feel. Is one
How we
amazing app
feel.
that is free, and then you can choose all the different, and it's with colors as well. Red,
Yeah,
yellow,
wow.
blue, and green. I'm gonna send it to you because this is and it's all completely free because it's been developed by a team of university at a university in the US. So basically understanding what am I feeling. And one key thing as well is to avoid distractions, because when we feel something uncomfortable, if we jump onto social media and start scrolling, we disconnect from that pain. Or if we start over drinking and over emotional eating and all these things, and it's really about, or I don't know, binge watching something. It's all about balance, and as well being okay with that uncomfortable feeling, because there is a lot of information in that emotion, that you can really transform. That's why the transformational coach as well.
Yeah.
Transform everything that's stuck within you and use it. And then by saying, okay, I feel sad because something that or I feel some trigger with something that happened with a person, and then you start kind of like a detective. Okay, what's happened now? Okay, but is that really it, or is like the tip of an iceberg, and there is something deep inside that is more meaningful? And this is what's happened now is the opportunity for you to heal and or reconcile that's stored in the subconscious mind from the past.
Yeah, definitely good with processing that information that may be holding you back as such.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to know what's been the most rewarding part on this journey on your transformational coach, having clients, seeing them progress. What's been the most rewarding part about it?
So if for myself is the fact that in such a short time from not knowing that uncertainty, uh, and using acceptance and trust and the little steps, consistency, and all these things that we talked about, things are working out, and that is one of the most rewarding parts, because it's not just theory. In practice, it's working. One of the things I decided to start doing was to put myself out there on LinkedIn and start writing my insights, my experience, what I know. And then I said to myself, I'm going to do it for 4 months at least to see. And for me also was a lesson in consistency, because I was many times in the past I used to start things and oh, it's not working, very quickly drop them. But in only 4 months, with that intention set, and I started getting messages from people saying that inspired me to change this. Yeah, and then also invitations to the other podcasts. I've been this podcast, and future opportunities, collaborations, and yeah, opportunities. So this is, for me, it's also the evidence. Like how we said, people that are very negative and pessimistic will always find evidence to support that they are okay. In the same, it works the other way as well. Like once you start applying all these things, then you start seeing all this evidence. But there is one important tool that I use that works really well for me and many other millions of people, which is meditation. And it's about quieting the mind a bit. Like the way I put it is like, those bubbles that you shake, the souvenirs, let's say with New
Yeah,
York, and it's
yeah.
all snowy, and you shake it and it's all the snow all over, right? So I see meditation is like this. So our mind is that bubble thing, yeah, right? The snowball, and then you shake it and you can't see the figure. But when you put it to rest, it all sets, and that snow falls down, and then you see the image very clearly. And that's what I get a lot with meditating. It doesn't have to be for a long time, sometimes 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then because it's like, first of all, it helps you to align with that purpose that we said at the beginning. Even when I had no clue what I wanted to do, it's like you start to get all these little ideas and visuals of, right, maybe I'll just explore this. And this is how without that expectation of I have to have everything figured out straight away, all those little clues, then you take action,
Yeah. Yeah, I truly
Um,
feel meditation. I've done meditation for probably around a year now, and I do mine just 10 minutes a day. And even that short amount of time, just being connected with yourself has had so much. It's more self-awareness as well on what's going in, acknowledging what's going in. Not, you can try and force your thoughts, but that's not going to work. It's good. Something that's worked for me is just acknowledging what goes in and just letting it go out. And
yeah,
that's the same with ideas. When an idea comes to mind, it's like, oh yeah, quickly write that down. Yeah,
yeah,
it's really interesting you brought that up through that self-development process.
yeah. For me, it's key. Yeah, that might not work for everyone. This is the thing. Everything I share, I'm sharing from my own perspective, and many things are, many people agree. But yeah, I invite people to try things, and for more than once, for more than once,
Yeah.
because that's the thing.
I'm going to ask the traditional question on this podcast now. If you could go back to your younger self, what would you tell yourself and why? And would you do anything different?
Oh, what a question! Because one tool also that is useful in coaching and therapy is the inner child work. So it's about acknowledging that child that we were once, and many times when we grow up, we go around life, and this was really powerful for me to learn. We go through life behaving without knowing, subconsciously, like that child. So I realized I was many times, especially in jobs, having tantrums, like wanting that recognition from that grown up, which maybe didn't belong there, Like instead of behaving like an adult myself and talking to my manager in the same way, I was like, without knowing, treating as if my mom is not giving me what I want, especially when I wanted a promotion or a pay raise. So one thing that I would say to answer your question is I cannot change my past. So all I would say to my younger self is well done for having been yourself as much as you could. Then it's like all other coping mechanisms that we develop without knowing, like people pleasing, perfectionism, and it's okay. I give myself a lot of grace and say, you've done your best and it's okay. So that's very important, not to beat yourself up for what you did or didn't do in the past. So that's what I would say to my younger self. You did amazing with what you had. When, like me, I was born in an analog world, and now we are in the digital world. It's really hard to say exactly, well, 30 years ago, my little Claudia, why, you could have done this and that, because now it's a new world. And so I can talk to young people now, At the time, what I did, for example, something that I felt I was wasting time in secondary school in the last year because I was already working. So I decided to not go to school and study by myself all the subjects. It was about 12, 13 subjects, and I studied, at home. And then I went and sat the exams. So that's another example of how you can think outside the box. And if what you're currently experiencing is not ideal, always try and change the way you do it. But to the younger people now, especially with all the resources out there, I'd say start feeling more, stop being distracted all the time. A little bit of social media, gaming's fine, but you have to be really careful not to be sucked for hours, because it's really damaging. Also, not only because it's damaging to the brain, but also it's not letting you do the things that really matter.
Damaging to the focus more than anything.
Yeah, and also, you stop doing things, you stop exercising, because that's another thing I think it's really important to start very young. I started when I was a bit older, but no, I was exercising, I was playing sports in different after school, but I only, as a grown-up, I started having a more established practice for running and for other sports. So definitely, have that health ingrained, health mindset ingrained from younger, and doing things. And it doesn't matter if you do something that doesn't turn out to be what first of all, there's not going to be a job forever, especially nowadays. It doesn't matter. Experiment, try different things, and learn as much as possible.
Yeah, I feel that. Well, thank you so much, Claudia, for coming on this podcast to share your wisdom and expertise, especially around adapting to change and personal growth, with it being such an important topic these days for young individuals. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, Claudia.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you for tuning into the Growth Concept Podcast. I hope you found our conversation with Claudia as inspiring and insightful as I did. Navigating change, stepping into your purpose, and taking action towards a meaningful life isn't always easy. But as Claudia shared, it's absolutely possible with the right mindset and strategies. All of Claudia's resources are linked below, so if you're looking for guidance on personal transformation or aligning your business or business idea with purpose, be sure to check them out. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Your support means the world to me. Until next time, stay intentional, stay open to change, and keep growing. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. See ya.